Alright, YouTube, welcome back to RP Matt. Sorry I've been away so long. For those of you who have seen my videos before, I was living overseas for a bit, and now I'm back in the States. So it's just been a couple months of moving and adjusting to that and all that kind of stuff and figuring out, how YouTube's going to fit into that, right? But exciting news, something I've always wanted to do, especially with my YouTube in general, is, make it about motorcycling, right? So I can get into motorcycling myself, make the YouTube a little bit more about that, kind of mix that with the travel aspect. So the other day, I made my first bike purchase, 1992 Honda CB750 Nighthawk. I'm unfortunately not in my garage. I'm here in my some family member's garage. But this is my new bike, and it is been pretty good so far. I bought it in Austin. I rode it to my hometown, which is 3 hours north, and I'm going to leave it. It's Thanksgiving this weekend when I'm filming this. I'm going to leave it here until Christmas, basically, and then I'm probably going to ride it back, most likely over a couple days rather than all at once. Because as you can see, it's a pretty naked bike. So riding this thing on the highways here in Texas, going 75, 80, it's a bit tiring at first. But anyway. But yeah, let's see. I haven't started it today. It's a little bit cold, so let's see how it goes. But basically, let's key in, but I'm not going to turn it. One thing I keep forgetting to do, so this is an old carbureted bike as well. Four cylinders, 4 carburetors. I've got the dual exhaust on this. It's the stock exhaust, I'm pretty sure, because it's not very loud. And honestly, it's been a good bike. I'm debating on maybe putting a louder exhaust on there, but for now, that's what I've got. So, anyway, one thing I keep forgetting to do is turn the fuel on when you want to run this bad boy. I've had a couple times where I've ridden away, and I've just been like, oh, what's going on here? Like, I'm kind of stalling out, sputtering out a bit. And I realize, oh, shoot, I have not turned on my fuel. So, anyway, and then, ignition on. It's a neutral. I love this dashboard. It's extremely simple. Let me see if I can get the camera to kind of go the way I want it to. You've got basically just the odometer, the tachometer, the oil light, which basically just means it's off in this case. Side stand light, neutral, and high beams. That is the only things you've got. And got the engine on, or the engine turned off, so the engine can run. And let's see what we can do here. Nice. There's been a couple times where I've had to choke it, and I think this might actually be one of those times. See, you can tell it's kind of sputtering off. So I'm going to run this bad boy. Let's choke it for a bit. So whenever it's not warmed up, it definitely it needs that choke a little bit. But then after a minute, you can kind of do that and yeah, it's see what we got here. Nice. Anyway, then I've been kind of ignoring the engine cutoff switch just because that's the same thing as the key, really. It's not how they teach you, and then turn the fuel off. And yeah, it's got 18,000 miles on it. I think I've put on almost 300 myself, just since being back here. Of course, I think 200 of that was the ride up. So yeah, but I mean, my plan, plan for the channel, especially, I guess, is, since you're watching this. Like I said, I'm not going to have this thing for another month, so I'll have hopefully some other content coming out. Probably just be Houston related. That's where I've been living. And try to do some kind of fun things there. And then take this back after Christmas, and hopefully I'll be able to make some more moto content. And then in March, really April, I have a pretty big Vietnam trip coming up, so that will definitely be probably a long video. I think I'm probably going to try to just do like one long 45 to an hour, almost like a documentary is my plan. So that's me and me and 3 of my buddies who I've done a bunch of road trips with. We're doing a motorcycle trip in Vietnam. So that's part of the reason I got this, is I wanted to kind of have something to just ride around, you know, make sure I'm comfortable riding and practice a bit. So far, I think it'll be good. And yeah, it'll be fun. But thanks for tuning in, and you know, hopefully I'll have more out here soon. I don't know how much I'll really be working on the bike myself, just given that I have an apartment garage. I'm gonna try and do some stuff, but it won't be anything crazy. I might do, like I mentioned, like a Delkovich exhaust. I can do a 4-into-1. But I kind of like, one thing I like about this bike, and I'm debating on how much it really matters, is this thing is just like almost as stock as it can get, and it's a 33-year-old bike now, right? So the guy I bought it from was 80 years old, still riding. He had 3 of these, and he did not look 80, to be honest. He looked maximum 65. Like, he was in great shape, limber, walking around. Like, you know, you'll see a lot of 80-year-olds, they're kind of just hunched over and walking slow. This guy, he was fully with it, like, rode this bike out for me, just because his driveway had a really weird hill. And anyway, he kept it in pristine condition. He was the second owner, and I feel almost like some sort of responsibility to the legacy of this bike, if you will, which is pretty cool. But it also makes me question, like, you know, okay, is this mod really necessary? Like, should I do this? Is it gonna change things a lot? The other thing about adding an exhaust, I think I might have to rejet the carbs, so it's a bigger job than just, like, you know, if I was just doing the exhaust, it's honestly not too bad. It's just a couple of these bolts, these bolts here, and then I think, you know, obviously whatever's got it mounted underneath there, I'd have to get rid of. But at the same time, you know, if I got to rejet the carbs and stuff, that's a whole other thing. Got to take off the fuel tank, which is pretty easy to do, to be honest, I think. Another thing that's pretty cool about this bike is you can take off the seat. So you unlock it back here with the key, and then it pretty much just comes off. I think you have to actually maybe have sorry, I might have my other hand here. Sorry, it's something to do with the way that this is mounted in here is a bit strange. Just go ahead and set this over here. There we go. That's it. It just comes off just like that. Just out here on this kind of cleanish surface. And something that's pretty cool about this bike. Sorry, I keep showing you this SUV. Came with a toolkit, which I assume most bikes do, and the original manual. Honda Motor Company, printed in Japan. CB750 Nighthawk. Another thing cool too down here. Honda, made in Japan. Gotta love that. I think most Honda bikes are made in Japan, versus, like, sometimes you get into the cheaper Kawasaki's and Suzuki's, and they've been kind of outsourced in some cases. Also has a helmet holder here, which is pretty cool. Little hook. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a great bike though. Like, it will go. I've gotten about 90 miles an hour on it on the highway. When I was passing somebody, has all the get up and go you need. It isn't super quick. Like, you're not gonna. I mean, you could probably ride it maybe if you're a little bit better than me, quicker. But I think the 0 to 60 on this is probably, you know, 5 to 8 seconds, somewhere in there. I haven't actually looked. It's quick enough for what I need. I'm not really a sport bike rider that's going 120 miles an hour and things like that. Running from cops. Not that all sport bike riders do that, but that's just not my riding style, right? I ride this thing probably less aggressively than I drive my car, which, you know, some people might say is a waste, but for me, it's just all about being on 2 wheels and being out in the air and experiencing the road that way, right? So anyway, yeah. 5-gallon tank. I might go ahead and get rid of the mirrors too. I'm just kind of rambling now, by the way, but I might go ahead and get rid of the mirrors and just put some of these side mirrors on here. But I think that the visibility is a little bit less. I just like how much lower profile those are. So I'm thinking about doing that, because it looks like a pretty clean naked bike, right? And then you kind of have these, like, almost antenna looking mirrors. So that's some other adjustments. And then, you know, everything seems to be in good condition, but I might go ahead and redo the brakes, and I'll probably redo the put a K9 air filter in the airbox, things like that. So, yeah, so this is my bike, and hopefully we'll have some more content in the near future here. So, thanks for watching, and definitely let me know in the comments if you guys have had any CB750 Nighthawks or CB750s just in general, or anything similar. Kind of curious what mods you guys might have done. Um, and like definitely trying to meet more people who are kind of familiar with these bikes, because frankly, I was familiar with the old single overhead cams, the 70s models more, and I found this one and I was like, you know what, this is going to be less hassle, I think, given that it's newer, has been kept in a garage. Like, I'm just going to go for this one. First bike, let's just it's not about the first bike, it's about the second bike, but so far I'm very pleased with the first bike. So yeah, anyway, all right, thanks all for watching. Like I said, let me know in the comments what you guys think, and if you have any mod suggestions, things like that, I'll look into. Peace.